Welcome to Just Say This, the place to get all the help you need for the Birds and Bees Talks. I'm your host, Amy Lang. Just a quick reminder, this show is for grown-ups because I'll be swearing. There'll be lots of swears, and then I'll also be talking about grown-up sex. I can guarantee that your kids do not want to listen to this, and they really don't want to listen to it with you. You've been warned. Do you have a question for me? Please give me a call. The phone number is 206-926-1522, 206-926-1522, and I will answer on the show. And if you have a funny sex talk story, please call in those as well. 206-926-1522. Thanks. Hey, hi, how are ya? I'm here to talk about banned books. Yep, here we go. Again, they are banning really great books, or trying to, in all sorts of libraries, school, public, you name it. And of course, the books they're trying to ban, and the reason they're banning them, are sex books for kids, because, corruption. And of course, they believe, the people that are doing this, that the best people to teach kids about sex are not library books, which aren't people, but are themselves parents. And sadly, they're not parents like you. They're the abstinence only, wait until marriage, yada, 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 bullshit, stupid parents who think that works. It doesn't. Anyway, the books they're trying to ban don't hurt kids. The books they're trying to ban, some kids, this is the only way they're going to learn about sex, is to go to the library and find those books and read up. Especially elementary age kids. Older kids are going to use the internets and porn, so they'll learn all about the sex in a really healthy way that will help them have great relationships, wait until they're married, abstain, and all that BS. Of course, kids like yours who really are sex educated, they're going to get all that porn shit anyway. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Back to books. Banning books is stupid. Banning books does not work. In the show notes, I have put some links to books that are on to be banned, should be banned lists. And I have a great idea. It would be super duper if you would pop in, buy one, and gift it to your child's school library, or to a school library where they don't have a lot of resources, or to the public library in your area. Yeah, it might freak people out because they're, sex books for kids, but who gives a flying fuck? Oftentimes, libraries are the only place kids have access to books like this, to books about sex and puberty. I think being sexually educated is a human right. And some kids, again, this is the only place they're going to find this information, especially the younger they are. Libraries are great, they're safe, and these books should be available to everybody. Look in the show notes, buy some books, give them to libraries. I also have posted a couple of articles about it, because you need to know this is happening, and this is even happening in your liberal schmibberal community, almost for sure, because those fuckwits are everywhere. Once again, it's time for some emailed and Facebook messaged questions from parents. Hi, Amy. My daughter will be starting secondary school next year, so I feel she needs to learn about sex and dating, etc., and I need to know boundaries. I don't know what to do if she comes and asks me about going out with her friends to a movie, for example. Should I say, no, you're too young, or say yes and expect her back at 9 or 10 p.m.? I grew up in a very conservative family and never had a role model for this. I think I need to educate myself and have some ideas of what to do and to say, and how to say it. Do you have any books that she can read to learn about relationships, expectations, boundaries, etc. before we start these conversations? And any book suggestions for me to read as a preteen parent? Thanks, and I hope to hear back from you. Did anyone have a really good role model for how to parent around dating? I'm sure people did. I didn't. I'm sure it helped that I didn't actually date anyone, really, until I was on my gap year between high school and college. And then I started dating, put that in air quotes. I had my first boyfriend. I was in Israel, Anyway, it was super cool. I'm really glad I did that. I highly, highly recommend a gap year between high school and college if it makes sense for your kid and your family. Anyway, not the question, just a little rando advice. Anyway, of course you need to start talking to her about sex. You know that, so get on that. But dating, oftentimes that's hard to figure out. It's a values thing. It's something you need to maybe even negotiate with your kid. It's something that's cultural. It's a do you know your kid thing. It's a gut check thing. It's really layered. So here's what I would recommend, just pretty much to everybody. When your kids start talking about dating, when you're noticing they're interested in people and are interested in dating, if their friends are dating, then dating is probably on the table for them. My thought is that you have rules, especially for the beginning, where they can go out with friends as a group. So that's called group dating. And yeah, you say, I need you home by 10. And then if they don't get home by 10, then guess what? They don't get to go out on a group date the next time that comes up. So talking about that as they get older, absolutely, they can one-on-one date. When it comes to dating, I think there's some really good things you can do to help your kiddo understand that one of the most important parts of dating is to have a sense of friendship. Also, of course, consent, but other things like that sense of friendship, making sure you have common interests, finding things you like to do together, talking about what you like about that person, and then from a parental perspective, making sure that kid is involved in your home life. They come over, they go out for dinner, they come over for dinner, they hang out, they do movie night, you do activities with them because you really want to get a sense of who they are. The other thing that I highly recommend you do is you meet their parents. I know this isn't always possible, but if you can meet their parents, that can tell you a whole lot about the kid and can help you, again, set up some boundaries about how the dating rolls out in your family. Again, this is really kind of up to you. I would be really careful about having really firm rules like no dating until you're 16. They always backfire. And having conversations about it, about what this is going to look like, what their friends' families are letting them do. Again, you can take that with a grain of salt, but figuring it out as just together is really important. And I love that you want her to have these conversations. You want to have these conversations before dating is on the table. So back to me. Once upon a time, I won a Mom's Choice Award for my first book, Birds and Bees and Your Kids. Very exciting. After I won that award, a person who was a judge of the books reached out to me. She had a publishing company, and she asked me to write a book for teenagers about dating. That's not really my thing, but I can talk to teenagers about whatever. So I said yes. We had a contract, and I wrote this book. It's called Dating Smarts, What Every Teen Needs to Know to Date, Relate, or Wait. I get the first draft done. I get the second draft done. I think I was very close to the final draft, and I sent it to her. She's not getting back to me, and she's not getting back to me. And then I'm waiting around, and it's important to do due diligence. So at some point in there, I went and took a hard look at her website and the kinds of books she published. They were all Christian, not the United Church of Christ kind of Christian, not the Unitarian kind of Christian, the, Mars Hill kind of Christian. I just listened to that podcast, by the way. It's super good. I started thinking, she is not down for this. She didn't do her due diligence. And guess what happened? Crickets for a while. I reached out, and then she reached back out to me and said, you know what? We've decided that I'm not going to continue with this project because excuses. Anyway, it was way too much for her. I interview adults in it about their experiences, when they started dating, including a person who's gay. Oh my God. Horror show. Anyway, what I did in that book is actually talk about healthy relationships. I had these fake first dates and some other information to help kids sort out, what should this look like for them? How will they know if they're in a healthy relationship? And I love hearing people's stories. So I included some, dating stories from other adults. It was written in 2015, so it's dated. The gender lingo ain't quite up to snuff, but the basic information there is really good as far as I'm concerned. So I just self-published it. Anyway, highly recommend that for you and for your kid. Read it all yourself first, hand it off to them, and it should help. I think the most important thing when we're thinking about dating and relationships is that your kids understand what a healthy relationship looks like and really press on that and talk about it. All right, link in the show notes to the very famous Dating Smarts book. Here's the deal. Your time with me right now is just not enough to give you everything you need to become their go-to sex talk expert. And these conversations aren't really about you. It's about your kids and making sure they are prepared for this ginormous part of life. I have help for you. I've talked about it before. It's my Birds and Bees Solution Center. If you go to birdsandbeescourse.com, you can check it out and get all the details. It is an online treasure trove of about 95% of what you need to be their go-to source. It's all in one place. You don't have to Google around. One of the things that's unique to it is that it includes a monthly live chat with me. You can ask me questions. I usually teach for about 10 or 15 minutes on one specific topic, like pleasure. And then we have unrecorded Q&A after that. Few more things. There are videos on porn, more than one, porn prevention, about porn, how it's impacting kids, gender, puberty, talking to boys, talking to girls, online safety. One of the things that parents tell me they like the most is an age-specific video. It tells you what they need to know at each age and stage so that you can get caught up or plan for the future so you're ready when they come to you with a, doozy of a question. You'll expect it. I have also included a chapter from my book, Sex Talks with Tweens, on pleasure. The entire chapter is there. This seems to be something that people really struggle with. I want this to be as accessible as possible, so it's super cheap. It's $69 a year, which makes it 19 cents a day. It's kind of a no-brainer. But wait, there's more. If you use the code JST, like just say this, you'll get 15% off. And again, this is not really about you. Do you want your kids to do better than you did? Feel better about who they are as a sexual person? Make better decisions? This will get you there. Anyway, go check it out, birdsandbeescourse.com. And of course, the link is in the show notes. Is it normal that an 11-year-old boy doesn't want to talk about sex? I asked the other day, and he quickly said, nerd-like, that he's too small and that just doesn't interest him. He also told me that some friend tried to explain it to him, but it wasn't appealing for him, so he abandoned the subject. Should I press or wait? This one's easy. Yes. 11-year-old boys, 11-year-olds in general, don't really want to talk about sex. Some of them do, a lot of them don't. So yeah, completely normal. It's great that you asked him, and it's nice that he said, in a nerd-like way, that he's too little, he's too small, he doesn't need to know about this. And yeah, he's not interested, but he needs to know. So yeah, you got to press, and you might check in a little bit about the friend that tried to talk to him about it and tried to explain it to him. I love that he didn't find it interesting and it was not appealing to him. Again, that makes sense. Anyway, so him saying no thank you and pushing back and telling you he's too young, completely normal. And you know what? You got to press on. Get books, start talking. At 11, I would start with a book about puberty and then quickly get him a book about sex. Depending on where you live in the world and if there's sex education, he's probably going to have it soon, or he may have already had it. If he's already had it, then that's awesome because you can just say, it wasn't enough, you need more. So in answer to your question, yes, and it's your job to talk to him, so get moving. That's it for this week. Thanks to everyone who's been calling in. The number's 206-926-1522, so please leave me a message if you have a question or a tale from the trenches. And thank you to Melanie Smith, my producer, and to Rolf, who wrote the Birds and Bees and Kids theme song.